Distinguished guests, the President of the United States.
Secured our independence, bound by the same words in our Constitution. First three words, we the people. The enduring ties and shared values between our people and the shared responsibility as global leaders to tackle the great issues of our time together.
स्वागत है प्रधानमंत्री जी आपका पुनः आपका लौटने के लिए। मैंने हमेशा विश्वास किया है कि संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका और भारत के मध्य यह रिश्ता 21वीं सदी के परिभाषित संबंधों में से एक है। दो गौरवशाली राष्ट्र, हम इन तथ्यों से बंधे हैं और यहाँ हमारी स्वाधीनता के प्रेम से ही हमने अपनी स्वतंत्रता प्राप्त की है। हमारे जो तथ्य हैं वो हमारे संविधान के पहले शब्द यही हैं, हम देश के नागरिक, हमारे लोगों के बीच स्थायी संबंध और साझे मूल्य और वर्तमान के महान मुद्दों से निपटने के लिए वैश्विक नेताओं के रूप में हमारी साझी जिम्मेदारी।
I'm honored to be the first to have you here in 15 years. The United States is honoring and hosting an official visit for the Republic of India. Prime Minister Modi, welcome back to the White House.
मैं सम्मानित हूं कि लगभग 15 वर्षों में पहली बार संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका भारत गणराज्य के लिए एक आधिकारिक राजकीय यात्रा की मेजबानी कर रहा है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी, व्हाइट हाउस में आपका स्वागत है।
We spent a lot of time together going back to when I was Vice President and you had just become Prime Minister. And since I've become President, we've continued a relationship built on mutual trust, candor, and respect. The challenges and opportunities facing the world in this century require that India and the United States work and lead together, and we are.
बहुत समय एक साथ बिताया है, उस समय से जब मैं उपराष्ट्रपति था और आप अभी प्रधानमंत्री बने थे, और जब से मैं राष्ट्रपति बना हूं, हमेशा इस रिश्ते को जारी रखा है हमने। और जहां हमारा इसमें आपसी विश्वास, स्पष्टवादिता और सम्मान है। इस सदी में जो चुनौतियां और अवसर विश्व के सामने हैं, यह आवश्यक है कि भारत और अमेरिका एक साथ काम करें और नेतृत्व करें, और हम कर रहे हैं।
With your partnership, we've invigorated and elevated the Quad between the United States, India, Australia, and Japan to advance our vision of a free, open, secure, and prosperous Indo-Pacific. Decades from now, people will look back and say, the Quad bent the arc of history toward global good, as the Prime Minister describes it.
आपकी साझेदारी के साथ हमने एक मुक्त, खुला, सुरक्षित और समृद्ध हिंद प्रशांत की दृष्टि को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका, भारत, ऑस्ट्रेलिया और जापान के मध्य क्वाड को मजबूत और उन्नत किया है। अब से दशकों बाद लोग पीछे मुड़कर देखेंगे और कहेंगे, क्वाड ने इतिहास के वृत्तचाप को वैश्विक हित की ओर मोड़ दिया, जैसा कि प्रधानमंत्री इसका वर्णन करते हैं।
Together, India and the United States are working closely on everything from ending poverty and expanding access to health care, to addressing climate change, to tackling food and energy insecurity stoked by Russia's unprovoked war in Ukraine.
साथ साथ भारत और संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका हर विषय पर मिलकर काम कर रहे हैं, जैसे कि गरीबी को समाप्त करना और स्वास्थ्य देखभाल तक पहुंच का विस्तार, जलवायु संकट को संबोधित करने से लेकर खाद्य और ऊर्जा असुरक्षा से निपटना, जो यूक्रेन पर रूस के कारण युद्ध से प्रभावित हुआ।
We made critical and emerging technologies the pillar of our next generation partnership to ensure that these technologies promote and protect our values, remain open, accessible, and trusted and secure.
हमने महत्वपूर्ण और उभरती प्रौद्योगिकियों को अपनी पीढ़ी के साझेदारी का एक स्तंभ बनाया है। यह सुनिश्चित करने के लिए कि इन प्रौद्योगिकियों हमारे द्वारा हमारे मूल्यों को बढ़ावा और सुरक्षा मिलेगी और यह खुले, सुलभ, विश्वसनीय और सुरक्षित रहेंगी।
All this matters for America for India, and for the world. We face an inflection point, one of those moments that only come around every several generations, when so much is changing technologically, politically, socially, and environmentally, that the decisions we make today are going to determine our future for decades to come.
यह सब बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है अमेरिका के लिए, भारत के लिए और सारे विश्व के लिए। हम एक मोड़ का सामना कर रहे हैं, ऐसे क्षण जो हर कई पीढ़ियों में केवल एक बार आते हैं, जहां बहुत कुछ परिवर्तित हो रहा है, तकनीकी रूप से, राजनीतिक रूप से, सामाजिक रूप से और पर्यावरण की दृष्टि से, कि आज हम जो निर्णय लेंगे वह आने वाले दशकों के लिए भविष्य का निर्धारण करेंगे।
And as democracies, we can better tap into the full talent of all of our people and attract investments as true and trusted partners as leading nations, with our greatest export being the power of our example. Equity under the law, freedom of expression, religious pluralism, and diversity of our people. These core principles have endured and evolved even as they have faced challenges throughout each of our nation's histories, and will fuel our strength, depth, and future.
लोकतंत्र के स्वरूप में हमने सभी लोगों की पूर्ण प्रतिभा का बेहतर तरीके से लाभ उठाया है और हम उठा सकते हैं, और अग्रणी देशों के रूप में सच्चे और विश्वसनीय भागीदारों के रूप में निवेश को आकर्षित कर सकते हैं। हमारा सबसे बड़ा निर्यात हमारे उदाहरण की शक्ति है। कानून के तहत समानता, अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता, धार्मिक बहुलवाद, हमारे लोगों की विविधता, ये मूल सिद्धांत दृढ़ हैं और विकसित हुए हैं, यहाँ तक कि जब उन्हें चुनौतियों का सामना करना पड़ा है हमारे प्रत्येक देश के इतिहास में, और दूर भविष्य तक हमारी ताकत को ये ऊर्जा प्रदान करेंगे।
And they form a special bond among our nations, forged by the special bond among our people, based on values that are universal, a duty to family and elders, treating all people with respect and dignity, a premium on education and creativity, self-discipline, hard work, entrepreneurship, faith and service to community, courage and resilience, and tolerance and opportunity for all.
और ये हमारे राष्ट्रों के बीच एक विशेष बंधन बनाते हैं, हमारे लोगों के बीच विशेष बंधन द्वारा निर्मित उन मूल्यों पर आधारित जो सार्वभौमिक हैं, परिवार और बड़ों के प्रति कर्तव्य, सभी लोगों के साथ सम्मान और गरिमा के साथ व्यवहार, शिक्षा और रचनात्मक पर बढ़ोतरी, आत्म अनुशासन, कड़ी मेहनत और उद्यमशीलता, विश्वास और समुदाय के लिए सेवा, साहस और लचीलापन, सहिष्णुता और अवसर।
I've seen this dynamism in my visits to India. I see it in Indian American diaspora that reflects every part of American life and remains a bridge between our nations and only grows stronger with each generation. We see it with record numbers of Indian Americans serving in the United States Congress. We see it here at the White House, where proud Americans with Indian heritage serve our country every day, including our Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
में यह गतिशीलता देखी है। मैं इसे भारतीय अमेरिकी प्रवासियों में देखता हूं, जो अमेरिकी जीवन के हर भाग को दर्शाता है और हमारे राष्ट्रों के बीच एक पुल बना हुआ है जो प्रत्येक पीढ़ी के साथ निरंतर मजबूत होता है। हम इसे संयुक्त राज्य कांग्रेस में बड़ी संख्या में देखते हैं और हम इसे यहाँ व्हाइट हाउस में देखते हैं, जहाँ भारतीय विरासत के साथ गर्वित अमेरिकी हर दिन हमारे देश की सेवा कर रहे हैं और जिनमें उपराष्ट्रपति कमला हैरिस भी शामिल हैं।
The granddaughter, the proud granddaughter of Indian civil servant, daughter of an Indian student, turned American scientist, who came to the United States when she was only 19 years old to pursue her dream of curing cancer. A family like so many of ours in our nation that speaks of the thousand stories of determination, courage, and hope.
भारतीय समाज सेविक की पोती, एक भारतीय छात्र जो अमेरिकी वैज्ञानिक बनी, जो 19 साल की उम्र में संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका आई थी कैंसर के इलाज के अपने सपने को साकार करने के लिए, उनकी बेटी। हमारे देशों में बहुत सारे परिवारों में से एक जो हजारों दृढ़ संकल्प, साहस और आशा की कहानियां कहते हैं।
Stories that define the relationship and the limitless possibilities between the United States and India. Two great nations, two great friends, two great powers that can define the course of the 21st century. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your partnership, and I'll turn it over to you.
परिभाषित करने वाली कहानियां और संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका और भारत के मध्य असीम संभावनाएं, दो महान राष्ट्र, दो अच्छे मित्र, दो महान शक्तियां, यह 21वीं सदी के पाठ्यक्रम को परिभाषित करेगा। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, आपकी साझेदारी के लिए धन्यवाद। अब मैं आपको सौंपता हूं।
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन, फर्स्ट लेडी डॉक्टर जिल बाइडेन, डिस्टिंग्विश्ड गेस्ट, उमंग और उत्साह से भरे हुए इंडियन अमेरिकन मेरे प्यारे साथियों, आप सबको नमस्कार। सबसे पहले तो मैं राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन के मित्रतापूर्ण स्वागत और दीर्घदृष्टिपूर्ण संबोधन के लिए उनका हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। थैंक यू प्रेसिडेंट बाइडेन फॉर योर फ्रेंडशिप।
President Biden, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, distinguished guests, friends from the Indian American community filled with energy and excitement, a very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to President Biden for his warm welcome and his far-sighted speech. Thank you, President Biden, for your friendship.
फ्रेंड्स, आज व्हाइट हाउस में शानदार स्वागत समारोह के एक प्रकार से ये भारत के 140 करोड़ देशवासियों का सम्मान है, 140 करोड़ देशवासियों का गौरव है। ये सम्मान अमेरिका में रहने वाले 4 मिलियन से अधिक भारतीय मूल के लोगों का भी सम्मान है। इस सम्मान के लिए मैं राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन और डॉक्टर जिल बाइडेन का उनके प्रति हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
Friends, this grand welcome ceremony at the White House today is an honor and pride for 1.4 billion people of India. This is also an honor for more than 4 million people of Indian origin living in the US. For this honor, I express my heartfelt gratitude to President Biden and Dr. Jill Biden.
फ्रेंड्स, करीब 3 दशक पहले एक साधारण नागरिक के रूप में मैं अमेरिका यात्रा पर आया था और उस समय मैंने व्हाइट हाउस को बाहर से देखा था। प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद तो मैं स्वयं तो कई बार यहां पर आया हूं, लेकिन इतनी बड़ी संख्या में इंडियन अमेरिकन समुदाय के लिए व्हाइट हाउस के द्वार आज पहली बार खोले गए हैं।
Friends, about 3 decades ago, I came on a visit to America as a common man. At that time, I had seen the White House from outside. After becoming the Prime Minister, I have come here many times, but today, for the first time, the doors of the White House have been opened for the Indian American community in such large numbers.
भारतीय समुदाय के लोग अपने टैलेंट, कर्मठता और निष्ठा से अमेरिका में भारत की शान बढ़ा रहे हैं। आप सब हमारे संबंधों की असली ताकत है। आज आपको दिए गए सम्मान के लिए मैं राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन और डॉक्टर जिल बाइडेन का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं। उनका जितना धन्यवाद करूं उतना कम है।
The people of the Indian community are enhancing India's glory in the US through their talent, hard work, and dedication. You are the real strength of our relationship. I thank President Biden and Dr. Jill Biden for the honor you've been given today. I think I can't thank him enough for this.
Friends, भारत और अमेरिका दोनों के समाज और व्यवस्थाएं लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों पर आधारित है। दोनों देशों के संविधान, उसके पहले 3 शब्द, और जैसा राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन ने भी जिसका उल्लेख किया, वी द पीपल, हम दोनों देश अपनी विविधता पर गर्व करते हैं। हम सर्वजन हिताय सर्वजन सुखाय इस मूलभूत सिद्धांत में विश्वास रखते हैं।
The societies and institutions of both India and the US are based on democratic values. The constitutions of both countries begin with the following 3 words: we, the people, as President Biden just mentioned. Both of our countries take pride in their diversity. Both of us believe in the fundamental principle of in the interest of all, for the welfare of all.
पोस्ट कोविड काल में वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर एक नया रूप ले रहा है। इस कालखंड में भारत और अमेरिका की मित्रता पूरे विश्व के सामर्थ्य को बढ़ाने में पूरक होगी। ग्लोबल गुड के लिए वैश्विक शांति, स्थिरता और समृद्धि के लिए दोनों देश साथ मिलकर काम करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। हमारी मजबूत स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप डेमोक्रेसी की ताकत का स्पष्ट प्रमाण है।
In the post-COVID era, the world order is taking a new shape. In this time period, the friendship between India and the US will be instrumental in enhancing the strength of the whole world. The two countries are committed to work together for the global good and for global peace, stability, and prosperity. Our strong strategic partnership is a clear proof of the power of democracy.
Friends, अब से कुछ ही देर में राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन और मैं भारत अमेरिका संबंधों और अन्य क्षेत्रीय और वैश्विक मुद्दों पर विस्तार से बातचीत करेंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि हमेशा की तरह आज भी हमारी बातचीत बहुत सकारात्मक और उपयोगी रहेगी। आज दोपहर को मुझे यूएस कांग्रेस को एक बार फिर से संबोधित करने का अवसर मिलेगा। इस सम्मान के लिए मैं आपका हृदय से आभारी हूं।
Friends, in a short while from now, President Biden and I will discuss India-US relations and various regional and global issues. I'm sure that, as always, our conversation today will be very positive and useful. This afternoon, I will also have an opportunity to address the US Congress for a second time. I am deeply grateful for this honor.
मैं यही कामना करता हूं और 140 करोड़ भारतवासी भी यही कामना करते हैं कि भारत का तिरंगा और अमेरिका का स्टार एंड स्ट्राइप हमेशा नई ऊंचाइयां छूते रहे। राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन, डॉक्टर जिल बाइडेन, एक बार फिर आपके स्नेह भरे निमंत्रण के लिए, आपके गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत और आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए मैं आपका और 140 करोड़ हिंदुस्तान वासियों की तरफ से आभार प्रकट करता हूं। जय हिंद। गॉड ब्लेस अमेरिका। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
I wish for, and the 1.4 billion people of India wish with me for India's tricolor and America's stars and stripes to always keep flying higher and higher. President Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, once again, I thank you for your kind invitation, for your warm welcome and hospitality, also on behalf of 1.4 billion people of India. Jai Hind, God bless America. Thank you very much.
Are you going and meeting the people?
And hospital.
Mr. President, this concludes the ceremony.
So the Prime Minister of India and the President of the United States of America, two leaders of two powerful democracies of the world, now will have a bilateral meeting. Then there will be a meeting where the delegates from both countries will also join them, and then there would be a statement that would be made to the media, some questions taken. We are told, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi also mentioned, a fact that was also brought out by the US President, when Prime Minister of India and the President of the United States, two powerful countries, meet and talk, it's not just about things that would benefit the people of two countries, but also benefit the world. The Prime Minister began by thanking the US President for the warm welcome extended to him. You're seeing those two images, one of that warm hug shared on the south lawns of the White House, and the second, the Prime Minister, the President and the US First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, coming out on the south lawns balcony, waving out to a very large number of Indian Americans and Americans who were out there in the south lawns. And the Prime Minister mentioned that he took time out to mention that close to 30 years ago, he'd come to the United States as a common citizen of India, and he had a picture taken outside the White House. Post 2014 as Prime Minister of India, he's been to White House several times. This is, of course, the first state visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But he said what was remarkable was the fact that the gates of White House had been opened for such a large number of Indian Americans for the first time. Our democracies are based on shared values, something that both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Joe Biden spoke of. The Constitution begins with "we the people." The Prime Minister also referred to a new world order post-COVID and India and America working together for the greater global good, something that the US President also mentioned. He specifically mentioned the two countries being together, for example, at the Quad for greater good, cooperating and working together on very critical issues like tackling food and energy insecurity, ending poverty and food and energy insecurity arising out of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Important aspect, decisions that are taken today will have a long-term impact on democracies. The two nations that stand for freedom of expression, pluralism, democracies and equality before law. Before we move on in this broadcast, for the benefit of viewers joining us, let's listen in once again to the welcome address first by the US President Joe Biden, and then the response of Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House.
करीब 3 दशक पहले एक साधारण नागरिक के रूप में मैं अमेरिका यात्रा पर आया था और उस समय मैंने व्हाइट हाउस को बाहर से देखा था। प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद तो मैं स्वयं तो कई बार यहां पर आया हूं, लेकिन इतनी बड़ी संख्या में इंडियन अमेरिकन समुदाय के लिए व्हाइट हाउस के द्वार आज पहली बार खोले गए हैं।
We spent a lot of time together going back to when I was Vice President and you had just become Prime Minister. And since I've become President, we've continued a relationship built on mutual trust, candor, and respect. The challenges and opportunities facing the world in this century require that India and the United States work and lead together, and we are.
Friends, भारत और अमेरिका दोनों के समाज और व्यवस्थाएं लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों पर आधारित है। दोनों देशों के संविधान, उसके पहले 3 शब्द, और जैसा राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन ने अभी जिसका उल्लेख किया, बी द पीपल, हम दोनों देश अपनी विविधता पर गर्व करते हैं। हम सर्वजन हिताय सर्वजन सुखाय इस मूलभूत सिद्धांत में विश्वास रखते हैं।
Important point being made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi there in that opening remarks. Sarva Jan Sukhai, working for the benefit of humanity at large, for people at large. This is what the two democracies stand for. The most powerful democracies of the world, India and the United States of America, the oldest and the largest democracies of the world standing together. And this is something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has repeatedly mentioned, that these two democracies together have a key role to play for the benefit of mankind. Another aspect that's critical is the efforts that are being made by the United States of America, not just to engage India, but for the first time talk about high-end technology cooperation. And there are reactions coming in. The Prime Minister mentioned that this is the first time gates of White House have been opened for such a large number of Indian Americans. How are they reacting? Let's listen in.
In future. Thank you very much.
As Prime Minister rightly said,
He's the last one.
I believe that actually happened just now, so it feels a little unbelievable and a moment to mark in history. We're all sending these pictures and videos back home, and feels like we got to pinch ourselves that it actually happened. The rain, it doesn't matter, all of that. It feels so positive, so vibrant. The rain can't kill how joyous we're feeling right now. How are you feeling, sir?
Well, I'm over the moon right now. You know, as Prime Minister Modi said, we are a small 4 million diaspora representing 140 crore people back home in India, and it feels proud that he's given us such a ceremonious welcome here. And like he said, he visited the White House as a common man, and for somebody to be elevated from the position of a common man to a prime minister can happen only in India.
He fills us with a lot of hope. He fills us with a lot of hope. Thank you.
Hi, hello, how's it going? As a native Washingtonian, I'm super excited to have witnessed this welcome, this grand ceremony to welcome Prime Minister Modi. We get a lot of heads of state here in D.C., but this was truly an incredible experience to have thousands of Indian Americans be able to join and participate here at the White House.
It was an incredible experience, and to see this many people from India coming together, from the diaspora, as well as immigrants here, it was incredible. So I was glad to be part of it. Thank you.
So you just heard the Prime Minister. How are you feeling after this?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Like we are mainly for the US-India relationship, and we Indian diaspora looking for that relationship to be stronger compared to over here. So yeah, I'm very much excited to all the today's we have Congress Congress presentation also. So we'll look for that one also.
I am very excited.
I quickly want to cut across to India Today's news director Rahul Kanwal, now joining us from, initially he was at the South Lawns of the White House. Rahul, are you now inside the White House? This is where the two leaders are meeting, the bilateral and then talking to the media. Tell us what's happening, Rahul. What was it like being there, witnessing, in a way, history being made?
Lot of just seconds before now, Prime Minister Modi and President Biden walked into the Oval Office where they're meeting at this moment, and they're being taken in. I have my phone with me at some point in time. This will have to be shut down, but for what it's worth and as long as possible. I'll try and give you live images as we're walking through now. Let me flip the camera as well. You get a sense of what's happening. I'm just going to go in to the White House, Oval Office, and Prime Minister Modi and American President Joe Biden are currently meeting. And hope to watch live and show you those images from inside the office.
Keep on around this side. Keep on around.
There's more space on the other side. Everyone.
Hi, Ambassador. How are you doing? It's great to see you. Hi.
Years ago, my vice president, I emphasized how important it was to the United States continue to build a partnership, small steps at a time. Over that past 10 years, those small steps have transformed large progress. Today, the partnership between our countries is stronger than we've ever been. Seeing our major defense partnership now pillar in the Pacific peace and security structure. Seeing our economic
Okay, we'll take a moment and reestablish that link with Rahul Kanwal in a moment. This is inside the Oval Office, where the structured initial bilateral meeting between the Prime Minister of India and the President of the United States is taking place, and both make an opening statement. Then the media is taken out of that room. The two have a bilateral. Then there is an extended meeting when the two delegations, the delegates on both sides then join the heads of government and state, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden. Once those meetings are over, then there is a statement that's made. We'll once again try and dip into that conversation. This is an India Today. You know, we're getting you these visuals that we are playing out inside the Oval Office. Opening statements being made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Joe Biden. In some of those visuals earlier, you could see the National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, in those pictures. There you see the National Security Advisor. You see India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. You saw India's Ambassador to the United States, also there, Taranjit Singh Sandhu. On the other side, you saw Secretary Blinken and Jake Sullivan, US Secretary of State and US National Security Advisor, both also visible in some of these video clips. So the initial statement made by both, and then they have their one-on-one, and then the delegation joins the two leaders. Very, very crucial meeting of the two, as the President of the United States also mentioned that ISET is a pillar of their partnership. That's the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. Both India and the United States have emphasized on ISET to invest in new technology, to co-develop these technologies that will benefit not just the people of India and the United States of America, but also benefit people across the world. What's also extremely interesting is the conversations that's taking place, and there will be an official announcement shortly on the strategic partnership in the area of semiconductors. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is visible in these images, as is Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor. On the American side, the External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar and Ajit Doval on the Indian side. I think these are images that we are playing out for you once again as we wait for these official images to be released. Co-creation of technology. It's a huge area where India and America are working together. Information that you're hearing on India today will be made official in a while from now. Some work is still happening, but this strategic partnership in semiconductor development, that is one of the key result areas. Let's quickly listen in.
स्पेस की ऊंचाइयों से समुद्र की गहराइयों तक, एंशियंट कल्चर से लेकर के आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस तक हर क्षेत्र में कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चल रहे हैं. You always been India's friend and well-wisher for a very long time. And whenever you have got an opportunity, you've always given posts when to our bilateral relations. Excellency, 8 years ago, while addressing the US-India Business Council, when said, our goal is to become India's best friend. And it is this first coming for yours towards India, which is inspiring us to take many bold decisions. Today, India and the US are walking shoulder to shoulder in every field, from the depths of the ocean to the heights of the sky, from ancient culture to architecture. डिप्लोमेटिक दृष्टि से जब किन्हीं दो देशों के बीच संबंधों की बात की जाती है, तो अक्सर औपचारिक जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट, वर्किंग ग्रुप और एमओयू उसी के दायरे में आमतौर पर बातें होती हैं. इसका अपना महत्व है ही, लेकिन भारत और अमेरिका के रिश्तों का असली इंजन हमारे मजबूत पीपल टू पीपल संबंध है. और इस इंजन की एक जोर भरी दहाड़ हमें अभी बाहर व्हाइट हाउस के लोन पर भी सुनी. Whenever there is talk of relations between any two countries from diplomatic point of view, you will often talk about some form of joint statements, MOUs. All these definitely have their own problems, but the real engine of the relationship is our strong people ties. And we just heard a spirited growth of that engine out of the White House promise. Excellency, जैसा आपने कहा, मैं उसे फिर से दोहराना चाहूंगा. आज की तेजी से बदल रही वैश्विक स्थिति सभी की नजर विश्व के सबसे दो बड़े लोकतांत्रिक देशों पर है, भारत और अमेरिका पर. मेरा मानना है कि हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक साझेदारी मानव जाति के कल्याण के लिए, वैश्विक शांति और स्थिरता के लिए, लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों में विश्वास रखने वाले सभी ताकतों के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और पहले से कहीं ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण. मुझे विश्वास है कि हम मिलकर पूरे विश्व के सामर्थ्य को बढ़ाने में अवश्य सफल होंगे. Your Excellency, as you said, and I would like to reiterate that, in today's rapidly changing global situation, all eyes are on the two largest economies for India and America. I believe that our strategic partnership is important for the welfare of the region. For all countries leading on democratic track, and this is important. I'm confident that working together will be successful in enhancing the strength of both. आज हमारी बातचीत में हम ऐसे ही कई मुद्दों पर बात करेंगे और अपने स्ट्रेटेजिक संबंधों को नए आयाम से जोड़ेंगे. मैं एक बार फिर आपको आपकी मित्रता के लिए हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. We will talk about many such issues today. We will act in partnership. I once again express my heartfelt gratitude for your friendship. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you, friends.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Right this way. Right this way. No further.
Along with American President Joe Biden, addressing the media. We were inside the Oval Office, first time inside the Oval Office, special moment there. Interesting scenes, Gaurav, at the White House as that initial comments from Prime Minister Modi and from the American President. Gaurav?
Absolutely, Rahul. Amazing. You were inside the Oval Office hearing Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Joe Biden. And the Prime Minister actually reiterating that point, when the two most powerful democracies come together, Rahul, it's not just for the benefit of both countries, but for the benefit of humankind. Something that he's emphasized on repeatedly, also emphasizing on the people-to-people contact. That's the glue that binds India and the United States together, Rahul.
That's interesting. We've currently just been walked into an area where the press briefing is likely to happen in many just on the camera. We see the marvel of technology 2 years ago. This film is just done around. That's when the White House press briefing will happen in a while from now. We'd not be able to show you this live at least minutes later.
So there would be a press conference. Okay, let's.
मुद्दों पर दोनों नेता आपस में बातचीत करेंगे, चर्चा करेंगे और उसके बाद क्या कुछ निकल कर सामने आ रहा है वो एक संयुक्त साझा बयान में हमारे सामने होगा।
व्हाइट हाउस के गलियारे में दोनों नेताओं का टहलते हुए ये तस्वीरें, ममता, ये हम सब भारतीयों को बहुत अच्छी लगेंगी। और जिस बात का
This is the Oval Office where the American President is making his opening remarks. In a moment from now, we'll of course get the feed from the White House on these opening remarks, also from our own journalists and agencies. Images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Joe Biden walking down the halls, and this conversation extremely important. Rahul, you're still with us, where the Prime Minister spoke of the very close relationship between India and the United States of America. But Rahul, beyond the optics, and great optics on the south lawns of the White House, but beyond those optics, there's real cooperation that's happening, that's been described as transformational, especially in critical and emerging technologies, Rahul.
Actually, look, I was just noticing the body language there when this meeting was going on. The Prime Minister clearly loves and relishes this moment, It's just very interesting. These are things that, either can burden you and just seem like, very complicated to get to, but his face is beaming, loving every moment and loving this action. Gaurav, we're now told that this bilateral conversation will go on for about an hour and a half. And after which is likely to be that press conference. So we're just gearing up now. We've been taken away from the south lawns of the White House. We were in the press briefing room, which is where the briefing will happen, but not right away. In a while from now, the press briefing will happen over there. And we're told there'll be a couple of questions each from the Indian side and from the American side that will be posed during this press briefing. It was interesting to see the reactions from some of the American officials who were there. We just had an opportunity to have a quick conversation with Eric Bassetti, the American ambassador to India, who's just come in. He seemed quite shocked with the way the talks have gone so far, with the way the way this visit has gone so far. Anthony Blinken was there, and on the Indian side we had Dr. Jaishankar and Ajit Doval, both listening very intently, trying to get a sense of what's happening, and obviously very mindful of the fact that this is history being scripted right before our eyes. In 2005 is when the nuclear civilian deal was announced, and that was a big moment. That was a transformative chapter, as it was. It may not be one particular deal, but all of this taken together, the GE announcement, the Predator drones, the state visit, all of it would not just be a sentence or a paragraph, but essentially a very substantive new chapter in India-America ties, which will be spoken of and referred to for many years to come, which is why I said what we are seeing, Gaurav, quite literally, is history being scripted before our eyes.
Oh, absolutely, Rahul, and history that will benefit India and the United States, and as both the President of the United States and Prime Minister say, benefit humankind. Sarvajan Hitai is what Prime Minister said. But this $800 million investment that's being spoken of in the semiconductor industry, does that in a way symbolize some of what's happening? The GE 414 engines, the MOU with HAL and GE, all of this, what does this indicate? Is America finally opening its home and heart and sharing technology with India and not just selling military hardware to India, Rahul?
Each time we've spoken to Rajiv Chandrasekhar or to Ashwini Vaishnav, India's ministers for telecom and IT, they've been speaking of how there will be a big announcement virtually any moment, any day. So they've waited for it for a long time, and that finally forthcoming when we heard Micron announce that they'll be setting up $825 million semiconductor facility in India. And that's a big achievement. We were speaking to Ashwini Vaishnav a short while ago. It's not a one-stop solution. It's not as if one deal ultimately just gets you going. It's a whole journey. It's a whole process. And that Micron announcement, a very significant step in that process, Gaurav. A very significant step in that process, Gaurav. Gaurav, give me a moment. As I just came out, I can go back to our video journalist, and then we can be live with you in just a few more seconds, Gaurav. I'll be back with you in a few seconds.
Rahul, you're live with me, and it's great to have you, even though it was nice watching you inside the Oval Office, giving us those images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Joe Biden in conversation there, and the White House press room. But from this point on, Rahul, the bilaterals, what all are the two talking about, and the extended delegation level talks, how long is that likely to last?
Because the White House has told us, hello?
Okay, give me a moment. I'll reestablish that link with Rahul Kanwal in just a moment. But the new world order post-COVID, and how do India and the United States of America work together? The point that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was mentioning. Okay, let's quickly cut across and get you those opening statements of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
जब भी आपको जहां भी अवसर मिला है, आपने हमेशा भारत के बहुत अच्छे शुभचिंतक रहे, और जब भी आपको जहां भी अवसर मिला है, आपने हमेशा भारत के बहुत अच्छे शुभचिंतक रहे, और जब भी आपको जहां भी अवसर मिला है, आपने हमेशा भारत के बहुत अच्छे शुभचिंतक रहे, और जब भी आपको जहां भी अवसर मिला है, आपने हमेशा भारत के बहुत अच्छे शुभचिंतक रहे, और जब भी आपको जहां भी अवसर मिला है, आपने हमेशा.
So the Prime Minister describes the American President as a well-wisher of India. The point that was being made was the two powerful democracies working together for Manav Jati ka Kalyan. It's not just to benefit the people of India. It's not just to benefit the people of the United States of America, but to benefit the entire humankind. हम मिलकर विश्व के लिए के लिए कुछ बड़ा कर सकेंगे. That's the point that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is making at the White House, Rahul, and this is where like those ministers you've been interviewing, whether Rajiv Chandrasekhar or Ashwini Vaishnav, they've been talking about something big happening, more than just one deal. It seems Prime Minister Narendra Modi has an ace up his sleeve here, Rahul.
Oh, absolutely. The bilateral talks are currently underway at the White House Oval Office, which is where we were moments before now. There's something interesting I want to show. I'm not 100% certain that this is of interest to everyone watching, but it's of a lot of interest if you're in the media, which is this setup at the back. We're currently just strolling around the White House, which I think is quite a rare privilege. You don't often just get to walk around the White House in this fashion. We're waiting for that bilateral meeting to get over. But here's what I want to show. Each American network really has this one stand corner. Think of this as Vijay Chowk in an Indian context, where we're out in the rain, we're out in the cold, we're out in the sun, and each of these networks, we can't go any further, Kirpan, but each of these networks is got its own shed, and they do their lives from here. So I'm just hoping that people, the powers that be, are watching at the right time. And if we could have something like this in India, it would be really, really nice, because everybody's comfortable, they can sit, they can do their shows, they can do their lives and not get soaked and drenched. So I just want to show this at the back once. Okay, so I want to go across live and exclusive at this moment to a senior minister in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cabinet in New Delhi. Smriti Irani ji now joins us. Smriti ji, welcome to India today. We're live from the White House, and apart from everything else, it almost seems as if Prime Minister Modi has just the most wonderful luck that is possible. I must tell you that, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this, it was raining all through the morning. All the while when we were doing our lives, it kept raining, drizzling, not torrential, but a definite rain. And just in those few moments when the Prime Minister came out with the American President, the rain gods just held their fury for those 15-20 minutes when the ceremonial guard of honor, the initial statements happened, and now it started raining again. It is quite remarkable. What are you making, ma'am, of what we've seen at play, a huge amount of bonhomie between the Indian Prime Minister and the American President in display, not just at the White House Oval Office, but even at the lawns of the south lawns of the White House? Smriti ji, welcome.
Well, I think the gods have conspired to make sure that the visit is extremely grand and successful. As you know that there is an Indian belief that when something very auspicious is to happen, the rain gods make their presence felt. The fact that the Indo-US relationship cannot be looked upon myopically only from a strategic cooperation vis-a-vis defense today begets a conversation around new opportunities that we have with this bilateral relationship. One in the sector of AI, another in the sector of semiconductors, then there is the sector of quantum computing and physics, then there is an opportunity in the green hydrogen mission, then you see an opportunity in biotechnology that Indian pharmaceutical companies are currently manufacturing in 14 locations around the United States of America, speaks volumes about the potential that is yet to be unleashed, that 40% of generic drug formulations in the US emanate from India, again speaks about our healthcare capacities that can be leveraged for the US market, that we have 200 active collaborations between Indian and US labs, again cements my position vis-a-vis healthcare, that a nation state which was a part of a cartoon years ago when it came to India's space mission, where I still remember a legendary cartoon behind a glass door which said NASA, was an Indian farmer with a cow trying to knock and find a way in, to now The Economist at the front page putting President Biden and India depicted as a tiger. We have come a long way.
Oh, absolutely. And I must also just spend a moment, discussing with Smriti ji and everyone watching at this moment, the reactions of American politicians, officials at the White House and the general security, because the last time they saw scenes anything similar, not entirely, but even remotely similar to what we've seen this morning, was when the Pope had come to the White House. Ordinarily, you know, you don't see anything similar to these hundreds of people who'd come to the White House, all of them chanting Modi, Modi, and you're an elected politician yourself, Smriti ji, that most certainly has an impact on someone like a President Biden when he talks to Prime Minister Modi, because not just back home but even here in the US, these are American voters. They're not Indian voters, most of them, the vast majority American voters, non-stop continuing to chant Modi, Modi, and that really would at some level make someone like anybody standing over there part envious and part amazed by the kind of popularity that Prime Minister Narendra Modi enjoys, not just back home but even here amongst the Indian American community who don't even vote for him back home.
I think it's quite fascinating that you enunciate how the house is of Biden's, but the chant is that of Modi. This is the charisma that the Prime Minister manifests not only in India here with the citizenry that has supported him incessantly, but also the impact he has on the Indian diaspora. I'm extremely grateful to fellow Indians who have declared what capacity India has through their services in the United States of America as productive part of the US economy. But at the same time, I think their chants on the lawns of the White House most definitely must be fascinating for American politicians, that this is a man that unites people irrespective of the geographical divide that they are party to currently.
You know, I just have one more thing to show you. You've been I&B minister in the past, Smriti. This is of immense interest to me and hopefully to you as well. These are sheds that they've put up of different networks, one by one. Each has this nice shed. They can stand over there, covered, not out in the open, in the rain or in the cold or in the heat like in Delhi. So something like this would actually be wonderful. I've been itching to tell somebody in a position of power since the time I saw this. This is a good idea. I hope we can have something for the Indian media back home as well. It has a wonderful view overlooking the White House, but it just ensures that everybody's nicely protected. But anyway, that's just a point. I just wanted to ensure that it goes back and then hopefully somebody takes
I will only say
this.
this.
Also, despite not being in a formal alliance with the...
Rahul.
Yes, Smriti ji.
As in, not only as the erstwhile I&B minister, but also as the erstwhile media personnel lugging cameras behind her, trying to get an interview or two from celebrities. I empathize with what you so desire on international lawns, but I will say Indian media itself has come a long way now. You were saying?
Yeah, no, most certainly. You know, we're just strolling around the lawns. I mean, the Prime Minister is currently meeting President Biden inside the Oval Office. That's likely to go on, and the Indian media is happily walking around the White House while we wait for that to happen. No, we don't want to pitch our tents. It'll be, yeah, if you could pitch our tents, as long as somebody allows for a tent like that to be put up, I think all our political reporters who are out in the cold, in the heat, in the winter, outside Parliament House at Jaishankar would really appreciate it. But let's come to the...
Gone are the comfortable days of the UPA, yes.
Okay. The minister is also working hard. Sab dhakke kha rahe, media bhi thode se dhakke kha, which is fine too. That works as well. But I want to focus on the fact that there is so much technology being made available by Washington as part of this evolving relationship to India, despite not being in any formal alliance structure with the US. India making very clear it neither is a formal alliance partner of the US, nor does it at any point in time in the future want to be. Foreign Minister Jaishankar enunciating that very clearly. And despite that, and despite the pushback that he's seen from the likes of Bernie Sanders and some other Democrat leaders, President Biden very focused on wanting to take the India-US relationship to the next level and not letting naysayers pull the relationship down.
I think, Rahul, we've reached a point and we are at the precipice of history where today the world recognizes that if you do not share in technology with India or Indians, we as Indians have the capacity to innovate on our own. It is best to have us as partners. It is best to serve the cause of humanity in a in a collaboration than create situations that are adverse to technological needs and societal needs, including its economic impact. तो आप अगर हमें देंगे नहीं तो हम खुद निर्माण करना जानते हैं. I think that message India gave, especially during the pandemic. And I say this because COVID was a situation where it was a once in a lifetime described by many as a pandemic, where pharmacological needs is something that many nations were confronted with. India made the vaccine for herself, deployed over 2 billion doses for her own citizenry through technology, but also serviced the vaccine needs of over 160 countries. In times of disruption between Russia and Ukraine, India did not hold supply chains geopolitically hostage. I think we've done much to show that we are a democracy that delivers digitally and fidgetily under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, but at the same time we ensure that we also deliver geopolitical needs when it comes to issues which help save the larger interest of humanity. So India has come a long way, created bonhomie collaboration between many nation states. Even in our G20 presidency, we do not only service the cause of the G20 universe and family, we talk about taking African nations and their needs along. We talk about island nations. So ours is a collaborative attempt at democracy, which has been appreciated by many world leaders.
You know, world powers, especially Beijing, would be keeping a very close eye on these deliberations that are currently underway at the Oval Office in Washington. What do you think is the message, ma'am, India and the United States are sending to Beijing and to the rest of the world in the manner in which they are deepening their ties through Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US this time?
I don't speak for President Biden, but what I know of Prime Minister Modi is this. We never looked upon our capacities as an affront to any other nation state. When Prime Minister Modi says make in India, he says make it for the world. We recognize that we have our own potential to leverage and unleash. We recognize that we do not want to be a political pawn on a geopolitical chessboard. We today unabashedly speak about India's needs and prioritizing strategies to benefit India. We don't do it as a part of blocks of nations. We have individualized our geopolitical position. It is a fine balance that Prime Minister Modi has managed to achieve, not as an affront to any nation state, either in the neighborhood or globally, or not as a party to another nation state's development, where we are reduced to just another economic stepney to another country's needs.
Smriti Irani ji, on a historic day, when quite literally history is being written before our eyes, for taking our time and joining us on India Today as part of our live and continuing coverage of Namaste Modi. Thank you very much. Deeply appreciate you taking our time.
It's a proud day for Indians, and thank you for your report.
Oh, most certainly. It is absolutely a proud day. Modi chance. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. Really a pleasure having you and talking to you about this particular visit.